Last we left off, our illustrious companions from the city of Orlustran had come home from their long and treacherous journey leading up into the Stormsong Mountains north of the city, where they had discovered a crashed airship from afar. As they returned, they had to contemplate many things on that journey, not the least of which was what transpired in the many, many days that they had been gone. They had only planned to be gone for a few, but somehow found themselves gone for much, much longer. There was people worrying about them, certain situations perhaps that they hadn't considered that they were faced with, friends that knew each other from long ago that they didn't realize were friends at all. And yet throughout all of that, throughout all of the chaos and potential difficulties that they ran into, they still managed to get through it. And they came together to discuss their future, to decide what the next steps were for them to take in trying to bring this airship that had crashed in these mountains back to functioning, for the chance of a voyage beyond the shores of the Imperium. This place that has seemed to stifle not only them, but some of the people that they love. All of this motivation to go, to leave. And it's just waiting for the chance. As they set about trying to come to grips with everything that needs doing, with all of the resources that they're going to have to pull together, with all of the help that they're going to need, and the people that they're going to need to contact, they were faced with a different situation. The need for some very, very rare metal that Violet knew sort of an existence of, existing far, far off to the farthest northwestern reaches of the Imperium, weeks' journey away. And in that moment of planning, in that moment of considering what those steps were to go and retrieve that metal, someone from Vi's past returned. Fig, a partner in crime, as well as a partner of the heart for Violet, returned. Cursed by the clergy in her journey to escape them, to deliver a message, to find Violet and let her know that she was in danger. Her father's past was catching up to him, and that was spilling over into serious danger for Vi. Troubled scene at the end. Fig succumbing to her wounds, being unable to be healed from the curse. She passed and left Violet broken, but also motivated. She came to terms quickly, at least enough to understand the danger in front of her. She departed her companions, promising that she would return with this lunar steel that they needed, knowing how important it is for the airship, knowing its necessity, but also understanding that her presence would be a danger to everyone else as well. Hopefully, by the time she returns, some of that danger will have subsided. But in the meantime, those that remained, Bren, Mira, and Adi, gathered up Fig, began a long, difficult walk through the night, back to Bren's farm. as the suns rose behind them and they saw Bren's farm approaching its quiet and calming presence, the door opened and a figure stepped out. Hey, would you do us a favor, please, and describe Sienna?
Absolutely. Sienna is a about 27, 28-year-old half-elf woman with long brown hair. It's wavy. Her ears are proudly out and displayed. She has, she seems very enthusiastic when you first see her, which does dim as she realizes there's a bundle in Bren's arms. She is pretty slight, pretty average height otherwise, yeah, she has an apron on. She's probably been cooking. She has she's been dealing with the chickens and helping out.
Bren, the only one that recognizes Sienna, how do you react as you see them in a not uncommon state as they open the door and look at you?
Bren's face, it softens, almost in like a look of relief, because it's a face of somebody that he's comfortable with. And so he's happy to see you, but then immediately in the back of his head, he's like, wait a second. And it's still soft, but it goes back into the serious like tone. One, realizing that you're here, but then of course, I'm carrying a friend who is no longer with us. He makes his way over to the door and he's like, thank you for the fence. If you could just give us a moment. Awesome. Thank you.
I'll make myself scarce.
No, you don't have to. Just a moment, and we'll talk. We'll talk, definitely.
Okay.
Bren,
what are Mira and 80 doing behind Bren as they see this familiar interaction between these two individuals?
I think Mira was a little bit tense until she saw that Bren knows Sienna, and then just sort of relaxes and waits to be introduced.
Same with 80. I think she's picking up on this camaraderie between the two of them, and yeah, same. I think normally she would jump to introductions, but I think the mood is a bit different right now.
Girls, let's take care of this first, and then we'll go inside. Okay?
Yeah.
Bren goes to the back of his farm. There's kind of like a flat land that was kind of like he was gonna plant something here. He never had the opportunity, so it's like almost untilled, but it's cleared out. And he gently lays Fig on the ground and looks at the girls and goes, Would you two like to do anything before? Okay.
Well, I think 80 will use mending to fix anything up on Fig to, I guess, make her look as peaceful as possible.
As you undo some of the swaddling from the cloaks that Bren had used to wrap Fig, you start to see the full extent of Fig's injuries. The wounds were deep, but there was many of them. It's like someone was inflicting the most minimal amount of damage, the maximum number of times upon her. Her clothes carry those marks as well, with many tears and slashes and worn places throughout. And as 80 mends each one, I need for you to please make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Six.
Tears come unbidden. You can't hold it back. Mira can feel it as well. The hurt that 80 feels is not just sorrow for a woman that she barely knew, but sorrow for Violet, because she knew definitively how much Fig meant to Violet. And she can't hold it back. By the end, her hands are shaking so bad that she can barely finish putting Fig's clothes right.
Feeling this through, a little bit of this through the bond, makes Mira sort of steely a little bit, and she takes in a couple of breaths and remembers that the clergy did this to Fig. And she takes out, she's got a little knife that she uses for spells and incantations and things, and she's going to take it and she's going to make a fairly deep cut in her palm, and she's just going to let a few drops of blood fall into the ground near Fig, and think about Violet. And then she's going to pull out her diamond and whisper, I will make this right. I will fix this so that this never happens again.
Where the drops fell upon the ground, all of you can see a slight glow upon the earth in that spot. And after a few blinks, you see movement. You see a slight swirling of dust around it, almost like a fog, localized and unbidden in just those few inches of space. And you see movement within that fog. And then after a few breaths, the fog drifts away, and you see a single crystalline flower, red at the bottom and slightly changing hue as it extends out to the tips of the crystalline petals to a clear, almost brilliant light. And the light fades, the crystal remains.
Um, 80 will just grab Mira's hand, the one that she cut. It isn't fair. It's not fair.
I know.
Bren notices that and then begins to use mold earth to create a site for Fig. Just kind of one of those. Body kind of sinks a little bit and it gently packs over to kind of create a site there. And then
do me a favor and make a spellcaster ability check, please. Also, remind me, do you have the Druidcraft cantrip as well?
no, but I was gonna hope that you would allow me some thematic flair with that.
Go ahead and make your spellcaster ability check, please. So for you, it's a wisdom check with proficiency.
It's a dirty 20.
Fig's form drifts into the ground as if they were laying in quicksand. The ground beneath is not tilled soil, but the area is marsh and farmland, and so it's almost as if, thanks to Bren's beckoning of the natural world, you see Fig becoming part of nature. Their body slowly sinks into the earth, and the surface ground returns to sight, the body no longer visible. In fact, no sign of anything that had transpired. Then after a few moments, you see small purple flowers, the tiniest petals and buds begin to sprout and continue to sprout until it fills an enormous patch of the ground, easily 12, 13, 15 feet around. All of you looking at each other and looking around and taking things in a little bit. You see all of the various animals of Bren's farm, particularly the Almirage, have gathered with you. You aren't sure if they fully understand everything that's taking place, but they at least can feel what's taking place. Even in this emotional and very likely painful moment, however, 80, you feel the simplest of sorrows coming from the woods nearby. Those same woods that you know connect to the Sildwood. You glance up in that direction and see dozens of glinting pairs of eyes amongst the shadows of the trees.
I'll nudge Bren. Just look.
Yeah.
As Bren glances up, he catches them, but only for a moment, as slowly, one by one, each pair blinks out and disappears from the shadows. Faint movement of their faces and their forms of whoever possessed them, whichever creatures of the marshlands there were. They disappear. You look down and you see the Almirage first, but the other animals shortly thereafter starting to disperse themselves too, going back about whatever their normal morning routines might be. There's a certain trio of Almirage that have kind of gathered around Bren's feet. One on each foot, and then a third kind of bouncing in between them. tugging on some of the laces of his boots.
He squats down to the trio and he's like, okay, ladies, you have a very, very important job now. We have to protect this area, make sure that it's always pretty. At least until our friend comes back and they can see it. Can you do that for me?
You're not sure if they really understood you, but all three of them were staring at you as you said it. And then when you stop, they kind of keep staring, and then one of them kind of jumps and pounces on the middle one, and then it's like this scuffle of bits of fur as the three rabbit-like creatures just bounce between each other. And then as you kind of sigh, uncertain if they actually understood, and begin to stand up, they all stop and look up at you. And then they bound for the fence, easily squeezing through the gaps. Like, this fence was never meant to keep Almirage necessarily in or out. That was how you ended up with a flock of Almirage to begin with, after all. And they start bounding around the patch of violet flowers, seemingly staking it out.
The power of three. All right. Well. Okay. Explanations, introductions.
Well, before you get to that, Kay, what's been going on with Sienna during all of this?
Sienna has kept some distance. I think she is still in kind of the main homestead area. She's looking out while this kind of procession is going, or if she doesn't have a direct view, she will will stay. She'll give some space. Once the animals also start to depart, she heads back to what she was doing. She has set up a big bowl of warm water with some cloths. They look like they've had a long trip. She had been making some bread, so she starts slicing that up and preparing. Just they probably haven't been taking care of themselves, so she's going around to hopefully be able to help Bren in some way.
I think it's fairly obvious, particularly for Bren, because Sienna has, knows Bren, and so she can tell very easily how exhausted Bren is, above and beyond the circumstances that have just transpired. But the twins look fairly tired as well. And so I think it's very astute or easy that Sienna would be that astute and be able to pick up on all of that. So Bren turns to the twins. You can see Sienna from the window inside, obviously preparing some things. What do you do?
Okay. Yeah. Explanations, introductions. Let's start with explanations. What questions do you have?
Who's your friend?
That's exactly who they are. They're a friend of mine. That's Sienna. We met some time ago. Kind of similar to how me and Mira met, but I wasn't dragging anybody home from a bar. There's a trend. But yeah, no, Sienna's a friend. They stayed with me for a while, and she's a free spirit. So once our time in hanging out was done, they continued their travels. Yeah.
I'm assuming we should keep all of what we're doing under wraps, right?
At this moment, yeah. not that I don't trust Sienna, it's just
Yeah.
I think we've had a lot in the last day, so maybe getting right back into the thick of it as soon as we get back home, maybe a bit much. But I will say this: Sienna's a really good person, and they may be able to help, but let's get through this first.
Do you know what her stance on magic is? Is 80 safe?
Oh, yeah. Trust me. Also, they share your same convictions against the clergy too. So, if anybody's safe enough to hang out with us, it's definitely Sienna.
That's all I need to know.
Perfect. So, yeah, let's go inside. Let's do that.
So the three of you head inside. What greets them, Kay, as they make their way in?
I think there are a few plates out, some sliced bread on the table. There's maybe some freshly grown veggies and fruits, just kind of out for people to pick at if they are want to do so. She had there's a bowl in the kind of more kitchen area for people to kind of wipe themselves down a little bit if they want. And she just put it in her way. She doesn't turn around when anyone comes in. She just.
I think probably 80, but certainly Mira would also pick up on an ease and familiarity that Sienna has in the space, that they could tell that Sienna has been here before and was probably here for a decent amount of time to be as comfortable in the farmhouse as they are.
Bren goes over to like the warm water that was set out to kind of like wipe his face off, and he looks down and he goes, he turns and he's like, "Where did you find this cup? I've been looking for this cup for a ridiculous amount of time, and it's not like I have a lot of space here, but for some reason, did you take this cup?"
I don't want to say yes. I'm sorry. I really like it here.
It's fine. It's a good cup. You can keep it.
It's really good for drinking from, I guess.
That's what it's made for. Sorry, Sienna. These are my friends. This is Mira and this is 80. Mira, 80, my friend Sienna.
She will put out an arm. Sienna,
Do you hug?
do you want a hug?
Yeah, I really do.
Oh,
Okay.
Thank you for doing all of this. This is so nice.
You're very welcome. Okay, come here.
She'll just hold on to you for probably a weird amount of time, given that you've literally just met.
I will definitely be looking over your head at Bren like, are these kids okay? Are these kids okay?
We're not okay, but we will be.
What's your name, sweetheart?
I'm 80, and that's my sister.
Hi.
Bren sighs and then sits into what the Ysterian equivalent of a lazy boy is, and he's just
yeah.
I'm gonna watch this.
Bren absolutely has a dad chair.
Sweet. Yeah, please, if you're hungry, eat. If you want to wash yourself, please do. My name's Sienna. I'm sure Bren told you a little bit about me. I'm sorry for whatever is going on right now. I probably am going to be adding to your troubles, but we can talk about that.
Excuse me? Sits up in his chair.
You know, I wouldn't be here if something was not terribly wrong.
And it was in the forefront of my mind, but I was hoping that this was just A lovely visit.
I wish we can. I don't know if you do you want to take some time? I can come back.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're welcome here. It's okay. Do we need to step outside and speak?
How? I'm sorry, girls. I don't know you very well. How much do they know on your day-to-day business? Do you want them to, if it pertains to?
They've seen me change.
We know almost nothing because he refuses to play Truth or Dare with us. But
a man has his secrets. Okay,
I am well aware
makes me
that you
mysterious.
keep secrets from us. No, it makes you frustrating.
Okay, girls, please sit down, relax, eat. Do you need to contact your adults? Sienna, can you show me what you fixed in the fence, please?
Absolutely, please. Follow me.
Yeah, thanks. It just looks at the two of them like.
Meanwhile,
Wow.
80's like just barely trying to keep things together.
I'm like washing my face. I've grabbed bread. It's a dual effort.
Are you wiping your face with the bread?
I don't know anymore.
Just. Oh man.
So, Bren and Sienna step outside. Is there anything in particular while they're outside that the twins do?
Dissociate? Just a little bit.
Probably. That's fair.
I think Mira would just like, oh great, we have enough problems of our own, and here's another one. Perfect. But she's really nice and she's really pretty, so great.
Mira it's probably not lost on Mira that Bren seems to collect problems on his doorstep. Speaking of problems on his doorstep, Bren and Sienna step outside under the auspicious inklings of needing to be shown the portions of the fence that Sienna fixed.
Very smooth.
As soon as they clear a little distance from the door, Bren like looks back, spins around, and goes, "Sis, what the hell? What's going on?"
I'm sorry. Okay. So I wasn't even like really in the area. I only got here about 10 days ago. Okay. I was in Brazenok. It's a fishing village, right? Do you know it? Have you been there?
Do I know it?
Yeah, Bren's probably been there a couple of times, just traveling up and down the river.
Got it. Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's a tiny little podunk fishing town, of one of many that exist along the river that Orlustrin is connected to.
You've been here for 10 days fishing? Like what?
No, not fishing. So I was there just by happenstance, and someone very important who knows about me, who saved me.
Okay.
He was wearing a head. It's gonna sound crazy. It's a headband of kind of control. It kind of mind controls you, and and he was leading a group of the Nostromo, and I was I was able to figure out, like, kind of get a little bit close enough to find out like what was kind of going on. They had a list of names. A lot of them were scratched off. One of them was mine. Not Sienna, but Sirius. You probably don't. But so they were on there. There was a bunch of other people. So there's like Fang. There was Morgan. There was Figment. There was Cartham. There was a Violet, a Berry. There were a bunch of people on this list, and I think they're coming here. They were invoking the name, the office of the sequestration. Is that it? Who is the boss of Leighton, who's wearing the mind control helmet? It's really not good. They're coming here. I think it's going to be. I think I've been here 10 days. It'll be about 8 days from now. But it could be sooner or later that they'll be in Orlestrin, and they know my name, or at least one of my names. I'm worried. I'm worried about you. I'm sorry. Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay, so there's a person, Nostromo, who has a helmet that controls people. They have a list of names that were scratched out. One of those names was Figment, which is who we just brought back home. And on that list of names is one of your names, as well as Violet's name. And you've been here for 10 days fishing.
I've been here.
And
coming to check on you. I was coming here every other day. Nobody followed me, but I was coming to see when you'd be back for a couple days. Like, I saw that the animals were not doing so hot, so I was trying to take care of them.
Which I appreciate that. Trust me, that was a main worry when I was away. Again, 10 days, and you said you found this out 8 days ago. So it's 2 days removed, and you think they're coming?
I got here 10 days ago. And I heard that before. I heard about it before then. I came here right away. I spent the 10 days here. I think, according to my calculations, it'll be another 8 days before they get here. I'm freaked. I'm so freaked.
You should be. Which version of you do they know?
All of them.
All of them?
They haven't known Sienna so far, although they came by way back when. But they know I was under someone's control in the clergy, and I was being controlled with the mind control helmet thingy. And then this person right now who's leading the Nostromo, his name's Leighton. I know you don't want to know these things if you can avoid it.
No, this is important. I need to know names in this case.
Yeah, Leighton freed me from this man in the clergy, and at least I think he did. And now he's being controlled by Chokrin.
Okay, so your friend who freed you is now being controlled.
Yes, by the same way that I was.
Does your friend who freed you know about you?
Yes.
So then they know everything.
They know everything.
Okay. So Sisk, what do you propose you do?
That's why I'm here. I was worried about you.
That's why you're here. That's why you're here. Okay.
I don't have many friends. And I know. And I don't want to pull.
So
it's fine.
I'm just going to interrupt here for just 1 second because I feel like that there is strong enough emotions coming off of the pair of you.
Yeah.
That 80 would be easily feeling them.
At this point, I don't even think it's the emotions. I think you could just see out the window that there's like...
Sure. Mira's looking out the window and easily clocking everything. Meanwhile, what if you two could both describe to me what your character's emotions feel like throughout all of this conversation for 80s or for Beth and 80's sake, please.
Go ahead, Kay.
I was just mouthing like I was freaking out outside and they're watching me from inside.
From Bren, you can definitely feel exhaustion, confusion, frustration, anger. If we had to elevate any of those out of all of the emotions, it's definitely frustration. And then there's a huge concern.
And then for Sienna?
She's panicked. She thought that she was going to get into this conversation. It was going to go really smoothly. And she's making a mess of it.
If I could also add for Bren, I feel like there's also a certain amount of just like not knowing half of the words that came out of Sienna's mouth. So you're muted.
Just a little sprinkle of confusion in that too.
She would not pick up on the fact that you're not getting any of these words. She's just,
Are you sure? I think his facial expressions would have said he's like
inside,
Ed from Good Burger. I know some of these words.
Yeah, so what's happening inside while all of this very animated conversation is taking place outside?
80's just sitting at the table with a hunk of bread in her hand and just says to Mira, I don't think it's going well out there. There's a lot of feelings happening.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Should I go? Are you okay?
I mean, no, none of us are okay.
Right, but
yeah, I'm fine. It's just hard. Someone was nice to me. You know that gets me every time.
I know it does. What if I sneak outside and try and eavesdrop?
I could not stop you if I wanted to.
I just feel like we need information.
Will it make you feel good?
Up. Information makes me feel good. Yes. You know this.
Do it. I'll hold down the fort.
I just want to know what we're
butter.
getting into because,
I'm curious. As you guys are having this conversation, are both of you standing at the window, looking out and occasionally and seeing them?
No.
Mira is, and it's like
Okay.
the little
Sure.
She's not like standing at the window being really obvious about it. She's doing the occasional side. Is there a back door? Does Bren have a back door?
Of course.
Does Bren's farm have a back door?
Of course. Always gotta have an escape plan.
All right, Mira's gonna cast invisibility on herself and go outside.
Whoa.
Okay.
Just close enough so that she can hear a little bit of the conversation.
Okay. Cool. So I will say then that you cast invisibility, head outside. Go ahead and give me a stealth check with advantage for the invisibility. And we'll compare that to their passive perceptions and see what happens.
17.
Do either of you have a 17 or higher passive perception?
no.
No.
Okay. Mira makes it up as Bren is kind of doing his half wrong, half right sort of recap of what Sienna said. Go ahead and give me a history check, please.
Dirty 20.
Oh, come on.
Okay. All right. So in that strange litany of things, one of the things that Bren said was the office of Deus Questrin. Mira knows that name. Deus Questrin, otherwise known as Dusk's Inquest, is a as described by her father, a fanatical group within the clergy that have frequently had to be reined in for the zealous nature by which they hunt cursed beings. And everything else that Bren says vanishes from Mira's mind as a chill runs up her spine. Do you think that she would gasp or give any kind of audible thing, or would you like to leave it to a wisdom saving throw?
I'll let the dice decide.
Okay, while you're rolling that dice, I will answer a question from chat. Cursed beings, ? So the clergy believe that anyone that possesses magic that is not studied arcana, i.e. wizard, or specifically granted through prayer by the divine beings known as the Ascendant, any magic that falls out of those two narrow categories is cursed. And so anyone that possesses innate abilities or sorcery or pact magic, even druidic, is often considered curse as well. Anything that falls into those kinds of categories is not well received by the clergy. What'd you get there, Deb?
22.
Okay. You do not gasp or anything. You are well composed, but it still shocks you to hear that.
So are you running? Are you running? Do we have to kill somebody? Like what's going on?
Well, I'm planning on running. I don't know if, I'm trying to tell you so that you can also run. Maybe you can run with me?
Why do I need to? Am I on the list?
I mean, if they are looking for me and they have already been here looking for me, maybe they will come back looking for me.
And you decided to come back here because they're looking for you. Do you see where this is a problem? Don't get me wrong. I am happy to see you. I am happy to see that you are relatively safe and in one piece, especially after the weeks it feels like I've been having. Trust me, and I appreciate what you've done with the farm, and thank you so much. But again, Sisk, you have to. This is now my problem, and if you haven't noticed, those two in there, there's three of them. There was Violet was here, and now she's gone because she has to go find out about her dad and to go get something, and then them, and you gotta be these two. I swear, one of them, I think, is gonna have a psychotic break. The other one, I don't know. 1 minute they're joyfully smiling. That's the problem. It could be either of them, says, and then it's just been a whirlwind of emotions, physical detriment. My knees are killing me. Look at they're
Mira
swelling.
breaks in when he starts talking about the twins, and is like, "Hey,
Are you still in the?
yeah,
Yes.
And then not even surprised, not breaking eye contact with Sienna, and goes, "You see, all they had to do was stay in the house, and I would have gently explained it. But you can come out now. You see."
I'll drop invisibility.
Well, okay, so you said Figment. Figment's not a normal name by any stretch, and it's on this list that I am on. And I told you, there's a Violet, and you said Violet is the third kid?
Yes, Violet is our friend.
Where the fuck is that?
I dropped invisibility.
At this point, I feel like 80 has to be watching from the window, by the way.
Yes.
What 80 has seen, especially with her sister becoming visible, is that enough to get 80 to come out of the front door?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm just trying to bring you guys back together so that we don't have to have
good.
this conversation 18 times.
Figment
17 is probably going to be enough.
Figment is the person that we brought home.
Why don't we? There's delicious food on the table. Why don't we go inside and eat and talk about what seems to be a growing mutual problem around the table?
I don't like to eat angry.
Well, then don't be angry. You can stay outside and we'll talk to see.
I can talk to these lovely girls.
What are you gonna do? Okay, let's okay, fine. And then like angrily starts to stomp towards the house. Like
Towards
and then
80.
just towards 80. Like bursts open the door. It's a pull, not a push. And just goes, "Hi. We're gonna talk about more danger now." Stomp past them.
I made tea. So there's that.
Okay, Sienna, I only caught a little bit, and so I'm sorry for eavesdropping on your conversation, but we've had a long couple of weeks, and we're in a little bit of trouble, maybe, and I just wanted to be sure what else was going to happen, because I think Bren seems to attract our type that winds up on his doorstep and draws him into messes. And so your mess might now be our mess. And so I wanted to know what we were getting into. So if you could just like start from the beginning. So catch me an 80 up really quickly, and somebody's after you.
Yeah, okay.
Here's some tea.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, now that I messed it up the first time with Bren, let's go through this again. So, I was in Brazen Knock many days ago, maybe 18 days ago now. Brazen Knock is along the river, okay? I'm a cursed person. I can
Same.
use magic.
You don't have to be weird about it. It's
Okay.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. I'm not usually around so many. So I'm a cursed person. I have folks coming after me. Some from, it seems, the Nostromo. The person currently coming after me, his name is Leighton. He works and has been invoking the office, the Dusk's Inquest. Leighton is the apprentice of Chokran. I don't know if you know who he is in the clergy.
I'll interrupt you for a second to give you a couple of checks here. First of all, 80 does in fact know that name.
Chokran?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the person that clipped Vi's ears.
Okay.
I don't think anyone else would know that, though, because that is something that Violet had confided in 80, given their close relationship, and I'm pretty sure Andrew had established that only 80 might know that. And Beth, you can roll a religion check, and Deb, you can roll a history check as well, please. You do have a couple of advantages if you want to use them.
16?
22.
We don't even need them.
Don't say that. We will.
Both of you are familiar with the term Nostromo. That is also something from the clergy. That is the term given to a group of divinely authorized clerical hunters. Basically, the two of you, kind of without even really talking to one another, just glancing at each other, know that someone has commissioned an inquest, which means that basically anyone from whatever farthest southern city that you can imagine, all the way up to Orlustran, anyone that could fit into the mold of a cursed being is in danger.
continue.
Please.
So, when I was under Chokran's thrall, for lack of a better term, I was wearing this kind of headband of mind control thing. I was eventually released from it by Leighton. And when I was in Brazen Knock and I saw them with the Nostromo, they were wearing it. So obviously Chokran's in control of Leighton. I was able to get close to them enough to kind of try and figure out what they were after, why they were kind of in the area. They had a whole list of names. There were a bunch of people scratched off. I remember some of them. One of them is, and they shall make eye contact with Bren, a very close associate of mine. And so they'll be after me soon enough. There were a bunch of other names, and from what I have gathered, your friends were also on it. Was Figment crossed off?
No.
If it is
But you also have to remember that that was quite a number of days ago
18 days ago about
that you had first tried to memorize that list, which you know that you didn't get. You only got maybe a third or a quarter of the names that were on the lists.
So plenty more. And so I saw myself on there. I was worried that Bren, they'd also come back following me, because Leighton knows everything about me. And I got here. Yeah, I got here 10 days ago. I've been checking on the farm every few days, hoping to catch Bren at a good time. I think from what I can gather, they're going to be heading to Orlustrin as early as Triuc 5, which is 8 days from now, but that could have changed in the last, good chunk of time. It could be. I think that they're coming. I don't know that they're coming directly here, but I wanted to kind of warn while I could.
Do you have a plan?
I'd like to answer that if I could. No, she doesn't. Here we are again.
We're pretty good at making plans, kind of, so we can figure it out.
Here's maybe a strange question. Do you know anything about sailing? Or ships?
I could pick up really fast.
What skills do you have?
I have many skills.
That's a very...
We're getting to know each other.
It's kind of a rude question. I'm just saying.
I think we're past rude. We're just trying to make a plan to help Sienna and Violet.
I have some magic. I can make some really cool psychic blades and things. I'm pretty efficient at fighting. I can, I can be pretty sneaky. I can be pretty deceptive. I can, through my, I can run away really fast. I can, but I also have a special tool. I'll take out my all-purpose multi-tool, and it can kind of help me learn something new for a period of time. I can adapt to situations.
Does Sienna start fidgeting with a multi-tool just out of like subconsciously start, now that it's in her hand, starts fidgeting with it.
Absolutely.
Give me a Arcana check, please, Deb. Arcana or History, whichever's higher. I don't know if you have.
They're both the same. Dirty 20.
As Sienna is fidgeting with this strange-looking tool in their hand that looks like it has several different tools built into it, you can see them kind of holding it and then using their thumb to pop out one little section of it and then closing that, and then a finger to pop out a different section of it and then closing it back and kind of spinning it in their hand. You see a mark on the back corner of it that is very, very familiar. The last time that you saw it, you were on board the airship in the engine room. It's a maker's mark.
Where did you get that?
I think it's one of the many boons I got from Chokran.
I need for you to roll a check for me, Kay.
Mm-hmm.
Just roll a d20.
Sure. Let me try the DD dice.
Then I'm
12.
sending you a message.
Sweet.
Make an insight check for me, Deb, with advantage.
$18.
Okay. There's something not quite right about what Sienna said, but you're not sure what it means that someone within the clergy had an object that, with that maker's mark, means, from your perspective, somehow other artifacts from far off lands have come into the possession of the clergy.
I've seen that mark before. Up
What?
in the mountains.
That mark.
Yeah.
Huh.
What are you getting at?
Sienna's multi-tool came from the same place. Somewhere else.
Okay.
I'm not sure I know what that means, but believe me, I can help you with the ship, 100%. Scud. If I don't do anything right today, I can at least tell you that I can help you with the ship, whatever ship thing you're talking about. What?
Have you been on? Okay, we'll just kind of just put it on the table, right? Girls, we're
Yeah.
here.
You know that Sienna has sailed plenty in order to come from the fishing village that they came from in that short a period of time. They've been on boats. So just putting that out there, you at least know that Sienna has a familiarity with ships.
Do you want me to take it?
Please.
Okay, cool. So, crazy shit happens around all of us, it seems. And there was a meteor shower, and it was great, except it wasn't a meteor that we saw crashing into the mountains. It was a ship, an airship that must have come from far, far away. That's a thing that exists, by the way. Was not aware. We went to go check it out. It took a very long time, and some of us knew that it would be dangerous, and others ignored that. And there's a ship, and we're trying to fix it. And so far, we're doing an okay job of making that happen. I think. Maybe. Although now, you're mentioning a timeline before some really fucked up stuff happens, and that I think is a little bit stressful now that I'm really letting that sink in.
Airship is very cool. It's not something I've heard of before, is it?
No.
No.
The notion of a ship flying and crashing in the mountains, no.
That's some bee.
But you also don't have any reason to suspect that they're lying to you.
Yeah, they seem honest folk.
Well.
So anyway, the ship is run by an engine that's made of like primordial magic. I don't quite understand it all yet. And there were a lot of journals and things that detailed how it works and what their journey was like. And on the ship, I saw a maker's mark that matches the one on your multi-tool. So somehow the people who are controlling you have access to these artifacts from other places. Other artifacts have made their way into the Imperium.
Mm-hmm.
It also means that we may not be the only ones who are either looking for the ship or know that it's missing.
I'm afraid of that.
If we can I assume you're trying to get that ship working. I think you'll have a really great time once you get out of here. The Imperium is okay, but there are way better places out there. Let's talk.
I mean, I don't think any roll is necessary for that.
The
Three of you definitely get the sense that they're not from around here.
In any case, I think I want to at least try. I want to help Leighton because he helped me. I don't know if y'all can help me out, but if I can get through this, I would love to help you with your airship and but I guess I just wanted you to know, Bren, that there's this stuff coming. So
I appreciate that, because you could have just kept running, not let me know. So I do appreciate you telling me.
just some bad timing.
It happens. One thing about helping you, from where I'm standing, still feels like we gotta kill a guy.
Hey, if we can kill Chokran, that's ideal. A+.
Sure.
I don't know if that's
Well,
even
yeah,
possible.
No, yeah,
But-
killing somebody of the clergy, absolutely.
Super easy. If we can get the thing off Leighton's head, because when I got it off my head, cleared up right away.
how do you? Is it just as simple as pulling it off, or?
Seems so, yeah.
Huh.
But I doubt we would be able to convince him. Oh, we could try.
Mira is
We could try.
probably familiar with the kind of magic that would be required for such an enchantment on a headband or a tiara or something like that, and it's not unheard of for something like that to exist. She's just perhaps, maybe she's surprised, maybe she's not. It's certainly morbid to think that the clergy is using them.
I think after seeing Fig, she's not surprised at all.
I don't think we had the opportunity to talk about this, but I feel like in this moment it's important. How did your meeting go at school?
It went.
Good or bad?
I'm being expelled.
Not too bad.
I can't show my face around there for much longer. My professor said that he would get me access to a couple of the archives that I would need. But one of my other professors is leading the charge for my expulsion, and it's just a matter of time until the higher-ups can meet and take action to expel me. So we have limited time that I have access to Occam.
Great. Do you think in that time you can pull double duty and get information about who's hunting or what, or in what capacity? What's hunting Sienna, as well as what else we need to?
Yeah, I know a little bit, just from my time as an acolyte and with who our parents are, but I can do a little more research and see if there's anything else I can find.
Just to kind of put it out there, Mira would be hard-pressed to get information quickly on that particular subject. But for what it's worth, I will also plant the seed here for Beth and Kay. 80 has some people that she could try to make contact with that might be privy to information. And Sienna has already been in Orlustran for a 10-day and could certainly continue to expand their efforts in trying to information broker in within the city. What Bren has asked for is not something you can really get through official channels, not without raising certain flags, we'll say. But the other two probably would have a better chance. And it would occur to the two of you separately that you would be able to do that.
So you just, I guess we need info on these organizations? Is that helpful? Just getting more info on them? Is that what you...
We can get a beat on where they are at now, how long we have until they arrive still. I've been keeping my ear to the ground for the last 10 days. I've not just been sitting on my laurels and playing with the the Amarouche or the little bunnies. So I've been talking to people, been schmoozing, I've been finding out. It seems to be still 8 days, but that could have changed. And we can hit the streets.
I might know someone who could possibly help a little, I guess, maybe. But it sounds like we're definitely on a time crunch. So I think whatever resources we have, we should use.
I think you should rest first. We have a couple days. Y'all look terrible.
Yeah, we do.
I can keep an eye out.
That's very nice of you. Yeah, I could use some sleep. What time is it? Is it sleep time? If not, it's sleep time anyways.
It's like an hour past sunrise.
I don't care.
You just haven't slept yet.
Cool. This also is gonna have to kickstart a lot of things for the ship. Running out of time with that as well.
I think you're gonna. Speaking of resources, we don't have time to melt down a bunch of gold.
Yeah.
You also
I thought about
technically
that
don't
too.
have all of that gold.
Yeah, I thought about that too. We may need to get the rest of it to kind of expedite things.
I think you're misunderstanding me. We don't have time to use that gold, and we're gonna need it later. You have something that can get us supplies now, and I know that you said that it could end up with you dead, but I think we're already hitting that point.
Okay. You don't think that's gonna raise red flags? Just me showing up. Hey, everybody. I need 5,000 yards of fabric. Don't ask me why. Because
You're
look.
building something. What could you build on the farm that uses a bunch of fabric? I don't know, greenhouse or something. Figure out some sort of cover that you're building something here.
I mean, yeah, probably I could, but then what happens when they come around and they're like, "How's the construction going?" And
We'll
it's
be
still
gone by
like,
then.
Will we?
Well, for what it's worth, let me just chime in here for you guys for a minute. You need a lot. You know that you need a lot. There's no way that you can collect that much in 8 days. It's impossible. On top of the fact that you need Violet to return with the lunar steel, which you know is going to take at least a month and a half. So it's collectively throughout this conversation, you guys will banter back and forth about what you can get and when you can get it. But the fact is, it's going to take time. And as much as you feel you may not have time to do it, that there are things that could prevent you from getting it, you might just end up having to deal with those roadblocks as they come.
Well, I guess then we should handle the most time-sensitive things first, like, getting everything that we need from Occam before Mira is entirely excommunicated. And also, preventing our demise
Andrew.
in 8 days. Yeah, I saw that.
Don't do that.
Dare
Don't
you.
do that. Oh my goodness.
Andrew in chat just ruining things. Nobody's going to
Devastation.
leave Violet. Oh, yeah, you're only kidding. Okay. Sorry, Beth. Continue.
No, all good. So we'll handle Mira's school stuff, and then Sienna, maybe I can try to track down this friend and see if we can, get some info on the seedy underbelly of the Imperium.
Well, we're gonna need a bag. That's for sure.
You make fun of me for shoes all the time, and now you're talking about needing a new bag.
Yeah. Yes. We're going to need a bag of holding, similar to the one that Violet left with.
How much do those things run?
I have no idea.
One
but
medallion at least.
could you stop?
No.
I have a friend that I can go talk to. I kind of have to anyway. I'm sure they'll be
Is it
able
Tamara? Are you talking to Tamara?
Do I know Tamara?
Boy. Look at the time.
I don't know. Ian, does the
do I
Sienna
know
know
Tamara?
Tamara?
Sienna would know a little bit more about the relationship between Bren and Tamara than actually Violet would. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to talk.
Y'all, sorry, a little bit of me came out. You all will not be there when I have that conversation.
Oh, no. I meant we can talk with Sienna about your relationship with Tamara, because I am very curious.
Sienna is one of my most trusted people, and I am very confident that she will not release any information. Shoots a look.
I bet we could get Sienna to play a little truth or dare with us.
Don't badger my friends, please.
Is it badgering if it's fun?
Oh, jeez. You're just as bad as they are. Okay, cool. Ooh, look at the time. I have to go do something. And then just kind of shuffles away.
Okay. I'm assuming that you, well, I don't know. Are you going to attempt to take the day and rest? Or are you just going off exhausted? Because you have a point of exhaustion right now.
Well, I'm definitely taking a nap. Yeah.
Okay. What about the rest of you? What's the plan, guys? Do you have a plan? Are there things that you want to do?
Well, I mean, right now, sleeping is the primary objective. But then I guess going back into the city and finding some old friends.
Okay.
Making some new friends on the street and trying to purchase large quantities of building materials without arousing suspicion. I think I can help with that. But
Fair enough.
Oh my god, I didn't even think of that. Okay, yeah. After Bren's slumber, he's got 2 stops, one to Tamara and then one to Mrs. Withersby.
All right. Dev, I'm assuming Mira wants to maximize her time at Occam.
Yes. She also knows that she at least needs to have a conversation with Phelan.
Okay. All right. You are still planning, all of you are planning to take a long rest. Okay. Yes, except Sienna. As the rest of these 3 head off and try to get as much of a rest as they can, is there anything in particular, Kay, that you want Sienna to do? Are they going to stay around the farm, or are they going to go back into the city?
I think at least until folks start waking up, because I think she did say that she would keep an eye out for them.
It does take several hours to get between the city and the farm as well. So you all do manage to get a long rest easily enough. Heading back into the city, it will be the evening. So you head off into the city. for the evening. You find the city unchanged. Of course, the sorrows of what transpired on Violet's barge have not had any effect, because the people of Orlustran simply do not know. Life here flows easily, like the canals that crisscross it. Steady, relentless, ever moving. The city bustles with the daily rhythms of market vendors calling out fresh catch from the Coronai River, students rushing to and from school, artisans displaying their wares, children laughing as they skip along the stone pathways. All of these things undisturbed by whatever ongoings of daily life there might be. The boats and gondolas glide through the waterways, ferrying passengers and goods under bridges where passers-by pause to enjoy the view. Here, amidst the chatter and the clatter of a busy day, life in Orlustran flows uninterrupted by the existence of some otherworldly airship hidden in the nearby mountains. To these townfolk that you see, such fantastical realities are unknown. Their daily routines unfazed by the secrets lying just beyond their peaceful canal city. Amidst all of this, Bren does stop by Hearth and Home to speak with Mrs. Withersby. They share quiet words over tea and biscuits. The news of Vi's sudden departure due to family issues resting heavily in the air. Mrs. Withersby's kind eyes reflect understanding, but also concern, and she promises to keep a light on for Vi's return. After his brief tea with Mrs. Withersby, Bren goes and visits a dear friend, the details of which we'll come back to perhaps, but suffice it to say, at the end, he comes away carrying a magical pouch in one hand and significantly less platinum in the other. But he does retrieve what he needs. He knows that this journey to go to the airship and back would be easier alone, and though it might take some convincing at first, there's certainly more than enough for the rest of you to do while he's away, when he can make such a journey in a handful of days. Transforming into various animal forms, Bren navigates the dangerous landscape between the city and the airship with both speed and stealth. Finding that while away, Tig has dutifully kept up to his tasks of reorganization, and little has changed on the airship from the time since leaving. Meanwhile, back in Orlustran, Adie takes advantage of the forge's roaring fires still. She meticulously transforms the various gold coins Bren had provided previously, awaiting the many stacks of them still to come. She turns them to neatly placed ingots and bars. Each piece of gold careful and cared for with as much precision as she can to conserve as much of the precious metal as possible. But not content with just working on the forge, Adie also reaches out to some of the clandestine contacts of her past. Discreet messages here and there, she seeks information on her former associates' whereabouts, piecing together clues from whispers and perhaps a few purchased rumors. Elsewhere, over the course of these many days, 5, we'll say, Mira immerses herself in the vast archives of Occam, and the libraries within. Her days are consumed with scrolls and books, her eyes scanning page after page for any knowledge that might aid in her quest. It's taxing, to say the least. And the library's hushed corridors, day and night, echo with the rustle of pages as she pursues wisdom relentlessly. In parallel to all of this, Sienna employs her charm and wit to weave through Erlustran's social fabric. Surreptitiously, she gathers intelligence on the feared Nostromo, working with diligence to try and ascertain when these clerical hunters are intended to find their way to Erlustran. Perhaps just a few days from now. And through all of this, over the course of those days, Mira and Adi occasionally, once or twice, spot Phelan and Mr. Babineau together in the artifacts quarters. The old friends sharing laughs and memories. Though Phelan seems to notice the twins' discomfort and keeps their distance, the warmth of old camaraderie is palpable between the duo, bridging decades with ease as they come to know each other at this new stage of their lives, recalling the past stage from so long ago. The 5 days go by. Now into the month of Triuk, just a few days ostensibly from now, the arrival of this feared Nostromo coming closer and closer. Bren returns. The magical pouch weighing no more than it did when he left, but now filled with the gold and additional platinum that you all had left behind on the ship, as well as any other little trinkets and such equipment and the like that you might have thought to bring back, or one of the girls had asked Bren to retrieve. The lot of you find yourselves on the second day of Triuk around a familiar kitchen table in the artifacts quarters in a tiny apartment. The sun's perhaps minutes from setting as Bren sets down wearily. No real exhaustion, no levels, so to speak, of exhaustion. However, Bren is tired. He's never been in animal form for that long before, that consistently over that many days. He finds himself still reeling a little bit from the smells that dominated him. His sense of smell so greatly heightened from all of the various forms that he took. You can see that he has quite a lot of extra hair in his beard now, perhaps even on his arms as well, seemingly unable to shake it quite as much, being back in a normal human state. He also really needs a bath. But there you sit.
I think I have something stuck in my throat. By the way, your milk's going bad. I can smell it from here.
You're going bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I deserve that. Yeah.
You can go bathe, you know. We have facilities for that.
No, I'm fine. It's okay. I don't want to put you guys out.
No,
You're
it would
putting us
really be
out
best
like
if you
this.
did that.
Fine. Let's take a bath.
So the bath for this place is actually outside. It's connected to the building, but it is technically shared between the girls and Mr. Babineau for, they have a wash basin and such up here, but a full-on bath is out back. And as Bren does, in fact, open the door to head out back, you are startled to see someone mid-knock about to knock upon the door. A familiar figure to Mira, at least, that of her professor, Evander. Still in his stately robes as a dean of the school. He seems a little bit startled as you come out of are coming out of the home, Bren, and he just stands there. He's like, "Oh, sorry," and he just kind of glances past you, and he sees Mira, and good. My apologies.
Bren does this. He's like, "Yeah."
My apologies. I'm here to speak with Mira.
Hey, this is my professor. It's fine.
Sorry, Professor. Excuse me.
No, it's fine. Mira, if we could talk for a moment, I think, and he kind of glances at all of the other faces, I think in private would be best. And 80 knows definitively, because she can just read it from him, he has some very bad news to deliver.
Well, Sienna, would you like to meet our neighbor?
Yeah, sure. Mr.
Babineau. Mr.
Okay.
Babineau. We're going to be down with Mr. Babineau. So, just holler.
Okay.
The professor just kind of stands to the side as the two of you walk down, and he looks at 80. You've met the professor like once, basically, in the entire time that you've been here, and he leans over to you as you walk past. It's good to see you again, 80.
Yeah, you too. I should just go.
He turns and looks towards Bren, who's still standing in the door.
Bren, you stink.
Well,
leave him alone.
That's fine. It's just, yeah. If you need me, you know where to find me. And then just kind of.
I'm going to lead the professor into the kitchen after Bren gets out of the way and make a pot of tea.
Yeah, he comes in. He stands there patiently, sees you making the tea, and says, "I'm going to sit, if that's all right."
Of course.
And he goes to sit down, and he sits down like someone who is feeling their age. You might hear a slight, pop of a knee or a hip. You're not quite sure. But he does sit with a heavy groan, and he kind of looks around, and he says, "Oh, I remember these days. There's a certain fondness when you're in school and just simply trying to learn." And he kind of glances up at the ceiling, like, my flat had a similar spot in the ceiling like that. And you can see him kind of wistfully in a state of remembrance.
I'll let him sit there for a second or two, and then I assume you didn't come all this way just to reminisce about your days in school.
No, I did not. Things have progressed a bit. I've come to inform you that the Council of Deans has listened to arguments a few days in advance. It seems as though some of the individuals that are very much seeking to work against you petitioned early, and they were heard. I found out about it in time to go and speak myself, but I had to interrupt the proceedings. That did not go over well with some of my cohorts. You have been placed on academic probation. 4 weeks from today, you are to be tested again. And if you fail said test, you will not be allowed admittance to Arkham for study. Now, I am uncertain whether you want to take that test or not. Whatever circumstances that you have now found yourself in, please know that I will do everything that I can to support you in whatever decisions that you make, whether that be at Arkham or not. There are limits to what I can do right now, though. I have, and he kind of reaches down into a pouch at his side, and he pulls a parchment from it, a rolled up piece of parchment that is much larger than the pouch that it was in, and he hands it to you. And you can see that it is rolled and then it is sealed with a wax seal, and there is a symbol upon it, an arcane rune that you know to mean Orlumus. And he hands it to you and he says, I know it's not what you want, but this will get you into the cathedral's libraries. You may find them not to be of the standard that you have come to expect at Arkham, but I assure you, whilst it may take some getting used to the organizational system, those libraries are just as knowledgeable as Arkham's.
When do I need to decide about being tested?
The schedule will remain until the day arrives, or until you tell me that you do not wish to attend. If I were you, I would let the bastards sit on it.
Thank you. I hope you didn't put yourself in any jeopardy doing this.
Oh, I've offended some of these individuals more times than I can count over the decades of service that I have done for them. It's fine. Some people are too rigid, others too loose with the rules. I like to find the middle ground to such things. I find that balance is often quite important. So, and he kind of groans as he stands up. By the way, you're not supposed to open that parchment. It needs to remain sealed in order for the... Yeah, you'll figure it out. Don't let the stodgy priests start regaling you overmuch with whatever interpretations they have of Orlumus this week. And try not to let it get to you too much, being in a different place. You might find that sometimes change is a good thing.
I think change was coming for me one way or another.
Quite possibly. Anyway, the next time you send a message to your mother, tell her I wish her well, and I hope to see you again soon. Light be with you.
Mira's gonna go over and hug him.
Oh, and he awkwardly kind of pats your back. He's like, yes, well, and he tries to hold it for as long as he can before he gently glides you away. Yes, well, thank you. Snowball to really, I need to go and find dinner now. Let me know if there's any other ways that I can be of help.
Thank you again.
Of course. And he makes his way out. As he descends the stairs, the two other half-elves of the party are downstairs sitting out front in the garden of Mr. Babineau. Mr. Babineau is inside preparing some tea or some such, and Crowbar is laying down in Sienna's lap, just purring furiously. The two of you see the professor. He nods at you, 80, and he just kind of glances at Sienna with a smile and does a gentle, slight wave and says, "Good day." And he heads out of the garden.
Is that the good one or the bad one?
The good one.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if he had the best news per se, but he's the good one.
Does Mira come down?
I think Mira takes a second to tuck the scroll away in her room for now, and will pour herself another mug of tea and then wander down.
Does Bren take a long bath or a short bath?
Please tell me it's a long one. Or two short ones.
Or two one short one and a medium.
Okay,
it's relatively quick, but it was a thorough wash for all parties involved.
Okay. So we'll say that as Mira is coming down the steps, a still wet Bren comes around the corner. You all gathered up once again.
How did that go?
Come on.
Well, I don't have as much library access as I did yesterday.
Shit.
Or I have access to none of Occam's libraries, I guess. I do have access to the cathedral, though, so it's not a total loss.
You're muted, Ian.
It's better than nothing, right?
Yeah. The professor said that I can find information that will help me there, but I've been in their stacks and their organizational system is the worst. So it might take some digging, but I haven't been completely cut off yet.
That's good, at least.
Mm.
For now.
So you're not expelled. I mean...
No, not specifically. I'm on probation, is what they're calling it. So... But it's fine. I'm fine.
Is she fine?
I was gonna say, looks at 80.
What's my?
He knows that
what's my
she's
sister's
not
vibe?
100% fine for sure.
I know.
She's just...
Yeah. I'll let it slide because I know that you're weird about feelings sometimes.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Work with what we got.
As you all sit there, Sienna, of course, informs you that they haven't been able to uncover anything that says that this group of clerical hunters is going to get here sooner, but they don't think that they're going to get here later. they caught rumor that a few days ago, a town not too far south from here, some clergy showed up and they discovered someone with gifts, the kind that you have to barter with fiendish entities to receive. And it was quite visual, the way that they were dealt with. So news traveled fast of such things. But you're pretty certain that means that they'll be here in just a few days. It's around that time that you're having that discussion. Mr. Babineau is like coming and going between, talking with you guys and then heading back inside for more tea and such. He has a little bit of a memory moment during the conversations. But then, as you're sitting there looking up at the now night sky, 80 feels a familiar presence. She very quickly glances around and with very clear alacrity is able to spot coming down the street one of her former friends. Dwarven man, average height, average looks. Nothing stands out about him. Mop of brown hair on his head, decently thick brown beard, wearing pretty mundane earth tone clothes, fairly baggy on his form. He's walking down the street, hands in his pockets, whistling a little tune. And he just walks by.
Oh, fuck.
That's
The rest of you do not notice that
no.
individual at all. They're very nondescript. You don't give them much more than a passing glance.
And he's
But-
just walking down our
He
street.
just walks by, yeah.
Fuck.
And he walked
okay.
in such a way that it would be impossible for 80 not to have seen him.
Yeah. BRB. And she's gonna pop up and sort of do like a half jog over.
He's
Vonic?
continuing to walk. You kind of jog over a little bit. They're now a few houses down. Oddly, the same distance that Mira and Phelan were from the front yard.
Oh boy.
Bren leans over to Mira and goes, "This is what you guys look like."
How dare you?
Yes, 80 catches up to Vonic, who stops and turns. Oh, 80! How you doing?
Okay.
I heard you were
Ye-
looking for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I had some questions.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
We've kind of got some questions too. When he says we, you like almost without thinking about it, glance up and down the street very quickly. And you can see walking down from the other
Fuck
direction,
me.
a very tall woman approaching.
This isn't a coincidence, right? Because that's a little too spot on.
Probably not much of a coincidence, no. You see this tall woman of dark complexion, some tattoos, various points on her body, very, very thick red makeup across her face. Half of her head shaved to one side, the rest of it in a very, very almost like nest of a mohawk on the top of her head, wearing much tighter and significantly nicer clothing than Vonik. You see Yoli staring daggers at you as she walks down the street towards you.
Hey.
80. Heard you looking for us.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You look well.
Thanks. I do try. You look worried.
Shouldn't I be?
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Hey, just so you know, Nesner got out. And that's where we're going to call it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us on this grand little adventure of ours. We are definitely going to be picking things up next week and maybe get to learn a little bit more about all of this secret past that 80 has been keeping from everyone, including her sister.